سيد المرسلين وشفيع المذنبين ورحمة للعالمين صلى الله عليه وآله الداعين إلى سبيل الله بالحكمة والموعظة الحسنة قادة الأمم وأولياء النعمة ومعدن الرحمة أوصيكم عباد الله بالتوبة ما سلف من ذنوبكم. We are into the 10 days ending to Arba'een of Sayyid al-Shuhada. Millions of Zaireen and pilgrims are on their way to Kerbela. Some of them are flying towards there, some of them are driving, and many more will be actually walking from different parts of Iraq towards the city of Kerbela. This is their way of expressing their devotion to Imam Hussein alayhi salam, and a visible way of popularizing the message of Hussein ibn Ali. It is actually a communal way of expressing the feeling that we would like people to remember the suffering of the women and the children of Hussein. And this basically forces the world to pay attention to it. If you see the numbers of people who go there, this becomes, in a way, world news. You know, the world pays attention. And this is where it leads to this question, who is Hussein? Yeah, there is now an organization known as Who is Hussein, but all these activities which are done on a communal level, that is the purpose, to make people think about it and ask the question, who is Hussein? Was he killed recently? No, 1400 years ago. Why people still remember him as if he is killed now? And this is where, when we talk about what is known as mazahir of azadari, manifestation of azadari, as long as all these manifestations are within the bounds of the Sharia, this actually becomes a very powerful way of bringing the name of Hussein ibn Ali to the world. If you look at the verse from Surah Ma'idah that I recited in the earlier khutbah there, where the ayat says, killing one innocent person is like killing the entire humanity. Anyone, it could be anyone, but the ayat says, من قتل نفسا بغير نفس أو فساد في الأرض فكأنما قتل الناس جميعا. It could be anyone. But what if that soul and that life is of somebody who is the best of the ibadullah at that time? There was no one more ashraf, more noble than Hussein bin Ali. He was not only the grandson of the Prophet and son of Ali and Fatima. He was there not just as an individual. You know these words that we have from our sixth Imam in Ziyarat Waris, that in Kerbela, Hussein was not just one person, he was Waris of Adam, heir of Adam, of Nuh, of Ibrahim, of Musa, of Isa. Means he basically came with the legacy of the message of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which started from Adam, ended with Rasulullah. He carries that legacy. And so when you have somebody on that level, and if you kill that person, what would be the level of the adhab? Because the ayah says any innocent person. We are not talking about just any person here. We are talking about somebody who was the best of the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at that time. And this is where we had to realize that it was not only Hussein bin Ali. They were actually targeting Islam itself. They were planning actually to kill Islam itself. But Hussein didn't allow that. He said, you want me, you take my head, but I'll not give you my hand. And so they took his head, but he did not give his hand into the hand of Yazid. And this is where we come to realize that, you know, when the Prophet said, Husaynun minni wa ana min Husayn, that I am from Hussein, this is what he means. That Islam would have died, but it was the sacrifice of Hussein ibn Ali which has kept it alive. You know, when Imam Hussein alayhi salam left Medina, after the initial encounter between Walid, the governor of Yazid in Medina, and Marwan, there's another conversation, very simple, on the streets before Imam leaves Medina. And Marwan tries to advise him that it is good for your dunya and akhirah to pledge allegiance to Yazid. What does Imam say? He says, you know, the day Buliyat al-Ummah bira'in mithla Yazid, the day the Ummah accepts a person like Yazid as a legitimate ruler, فَعَلَى الْإِسْلَامَ السَّلَامِ, I will say Khuda Hafiz to Islam. We cannot accept that Islam. And then he uses the words, he says, Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un, which we normally say to a person who has died. That if the Ummah considers Yazid to be the legitimate ruler, it's as if Islam has died. And I'll not allow that to happen. And this is where we are to realize the importance of Hussein ibn Ali and the way we are remembering him. And it is actually, because of Hussein that the pure Islam of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has survived. One way you should look at the Azam of Sayyid al-Shuhada is to thank him for whatever good that you see about Islam. This has been preserved because of his sacrifice. Otherwise, it would have been something completely different. And this is where we come back to the statement of one of the scholars who say, Al-Islam Muhammadiyul Wujud wa Husayniyul Baqa. Islam came to exist because of Muhammad, but it survived because of Hussein bin Ali alayhi salatu wassalam. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keep all the azadar of Hussein wherever they are, especially those who travel to Iraq, to Kerbela for the Arba'een. May He keep them in His protection and guidance, inshallah. اللهم صل على سيد المرسلين والشفيع المذنبين نبينا محمد صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم